Slow key, and I say I am Mr. Superfax. Alright. Today's topic. Today's topic, as truth seekers, as people, a part of the truth community, why do we lie to children about the origin of holidays? I feel like, as a disclaimer, I don't have any kids myself. Um, I am a uncle myself. Um, I watched my cousins since they were babies, since they were fresh out the womb, grow up. They're like shit. They're almost teenagers now. So, and then also just growing up myself, um, you know, having my own sibling. So throughout my life, I've watched babies grow into toddlers, into, you know, young boys and girls, into teenagers, throughout my life. And I've studied behaviors of children, you know what I'm saying? And so that's my disclaimer, right? I don't have kids myself, but I've been around kids, you know, and studied their behavior my entire life. Um Now when it comes to today's topic, because I was talking to somebody and I explained to them, I just told them, I said, it's funny because I guess like I'm not one of these people. I'm not like a hotep nigga. I'm not a religious person. I don't shove my beliefs or my stance into people's faces, you know what I'm saying? If I fuck with you, if I trust you, you know, I'll share my opinion or my beliefs with you. But other than that, the average person would never know what I believe, think, or feel because I just don't fuck with people enough to even waste my energy. I'm not desperate, right? I'm not desperate for attention, you know? If a person is meant to know certain information, then I'll tell them. If they're not, they won't. So I was having a conversation with somebody, and they always remind me every holiday. I'm appreciative. I'm grateful that a person thinks about me no matter what day of the week it is, right? But I have, people in my life that reach out to me on holidays, whatever holiday it is, and they'll just say happy whatever holiday. But they do make it a note. They do make it a note to be like, I know you don't celebrate holidays or whatever, but happy da 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 da, and I thought to myself today, I was like, am I like an asshole, or because I don't have negative energy towards holidays. I'm indifferent. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? I genuinely don't care. It's just another day for me. I feel like in my spirit, how I feel is if you are constantly vibrating on a frequency of gratefulness, where you're grateful for every moment, and you're grateful for every person that you love and you care about, and you're grateful for every fucking breath and every step you take, right? You don't have like it's I don't have the mentality to be like, okay, I'm gonna celebrate this day because somebody else told me to, or I'm gonna participate in really this this energy ritual where we're worshiping pagan gods, and it's like these every year these gods are like, you know they're just expecting us, right, expecting to harvest off our energy. I just don't operate like that, you know what I mean? The most sacred thing that will ever hold in this realm is our energy. The most sacred thing we'll hold in this realm is our energy. So you should know, you should know, it should be a priority that you know exactly where your energy is going at every moment. Okay, because I feel like the majority of the bullshit that happens in all of our lives is due to misdirected energy. It's due to us investing our feelings and emotions and attention into bullshit, right? And then, us being trapped in that bullshit ass loop, but when you are properly directing your energy, right? Your attention, emotions, um, your life force into your what you're supposed to be doing, it comes back, you know what I'm saying? It's a very, it just makes you feel like your life is worth living. Let's have a real conversation. So, um, why do we lie to the children? I feel like when you lie, why should we be Paul calls them the controllers, the elite, the handlers, whatever you want to call them, the puppet masters, the Illuminati, where, if you think about it, we are just as bad, if not worse, than the controllers. When we bring these children into the world, and the first thing we do is lie to them. The very first thing we do voluntarily is indoctrinate these children. And I always ask myself, like, you got to ask yourself, how committed are you to this truth shit? How committed are you to this fucking, you know, how committed are you to your soul and just pure truth, right? Because it's like, I understand it's a process to everything, but it's a serious disadvantage as a child when you come into this world and you already being lied to by your parents and you're already being indoctrinated, right? And it doesn't just have to do with holidays. It has to do with, you could be indoctrinated with terrible fucking behavior from your parents. You know what I'm saying? You can be indoctrinated with retarded beliefs and ideologies, right? You could be indoctrinated with the trauma that they haven't healed from yet. You know what I'm saying? So it's all, when you're a child, it's all about behavior. I feel like very few children, have that confidence to kind of like be their own person or whatever. Like most kids are just, they're behaving like whoever else they saw. They're behaving like their mother, father, classmates, somebody off social media. You know what I mean? Um, because we don't encourage these children. I feel like when we lied to them, it's basically us being like, kind of like subconsciously telling the children, you can't handle the truth, or, you're kind of like too stupid to appreciate it. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. I understand there's a process. I understand that a 5-year-old may not understand if you're talking about Easter and you're talking about the goddess of fertility and all of this shit, and you're talking to a 5-year-old about energy harvesting and rituals and paganism, you know, they might not fully understand, but the whole point of you telling the truth to that 5-year-old is so that they have a head start spiritually. So they not have a head start subconsciously. So they have a head start spiritually. You understand what I'm saying? Because what happens is we start off being lied to as children for so many years that we have to like unlearn all the fucking bullshit indoctrination. We have to unlearn it. So just as long as it takes for us to be indoctrinated, it takes even longer for us to be, to basically wipe our fucking mind of all the bullshit we was taught. And I understand it's a process, but I feel like, in my honest heart, I do feel like it's just a cop out. I feel like it's an excuse. I feel like it's very just most parents don't want to be judged. They don't want to be those parents in the neighborhood that everybody knows, that they don't celebrate holidays and everybody kind of looks down on them type shit. You know what I mean? Um, they don't want to be those parents that on Christmas they don't buy. You could buy your kids a present, a gift every fucking day. You could buy your kid a toy every day of the year, but on that one day, if you don't buy this kid a toy, you're a horrible person, according to, you know, essentially strangers. Essentially strangers, Um, you can argue your family could just do nothing for you year round, but then come Easter, now they want to plan, a dinner or something like that. But where was you at the whole year when a motherfucker was struggling? Where was you at when a motherfucker wanted to commit suicide? Where was you at when a motherfucker couldn't afford to pay their phone bill? Where was you at when a motherfucker just needed somebody to talk to and be vulnerable with? Where were you at? But they're not there. But at that dinner, if you don't show up, they don't have to, family don't have to show up for you the entire year. But let you not show up one day and be sitting in that seat at the dinner table, you're the piece of shit. That's why I've been done with this world for a long time, because this is just the realm of hypocrisy. You know what I'm saying? And I understand it's hard. It's hard. It takes supreme discipline to practice what you preach on a daily basis. But somebody has to do it. Only thing I ever ask people to do is to try. Just try. I don't expect you to understand me. I don't expect you to understand what I've been through. You know what I'm saying? I don't expect you to be empathetic. I don't expect you to be sympathetic. I don't expect you to do anything other than, if we fuck with each other, to just try, be willing to try. Be willing to try. Meaning put in that effort to try to understand where I'm coming from. To try to understand what I'm explaining. The majority of and then that's how you gain, for me personally, that's how you gain the respect of somebody like me, because that's how I treat people. I don't know your fucking life. I don't know what you've been through. I don't know what indoctrination, trauma, toxicity you've been exposed to, and I never will. You know what I'm saying? I'll never will. But the only thing I can do is try, be willing to try to understand you and treat you with the respect and treat you how, you know what I'm saying, you deserve to be treated. Let's have a real conversation. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to these children, I just like, if I had kids of my own and I'm looking in their eyes and participating, you know, in Christmas and Halloween and all this other shit, you know, it's like I'd feel like a dirtbag. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'd feel like a dirtbag, and I feel like, damn, I went out into the world and I did all this research and collaborated with so many great researchers just to do the same exact thing that the NPCs are doing, just to participate in the same ritual that the sheep are participating in. You know what I'm saying? Let's have a real conversation. I think that I think that the most important gift you can give to the children, whether it be your children or children's and then, you know, children, you know, your nieces and nephews, your cousins, whatever the fuck, you know, grandchildren, whatever the fuck, children in the community, your friends, kids. I feel like the most purest, most valuable gift you can give to a child is the truth, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, you know, it's that pain. They still feel pain. They feel that first pain that they feel in their chest and in their heart is when they find out that they were what? Lied to. When they find out that they were, wait, Santa Claus isn't real? Wait, my parents and everybody lied to me about this? Sure, it was cool getting these gifts and everything, but everybody remembers that pain when you find out that mom, you know, your mom or your dad is Santa Claus, and this whole charade of just like the cookies and the milk and the chimney and the stockings and the coal and the reindeers and the Santa Claus being on the news and shit. It's like it's a whole, it's so much, you know what I mean? It's a whole theater about it, you know? It's like, wow. You know, and I just, me personally, I can only speak for myself. Sure, I have great memories of, as far as like materialistic, right? Materialistic shit, right? I have great materialistic memories of Christmas. It was lit. Waking up in the morning and you just got toys on toys on toys and unwrapping gifts and just you know what I mean? But I look back, I can only speak for myself, and it was like I would trade all of that to experience, you know, a relationship. You know, I trade everything to have a relationship with a real mother. You know what I'm saying? To have a real mother in my life, to have a real father in my life. What do I mean by that? Somebody that loves you unconditionally, that's always by your side. Somebody that you can call up any time of the day, they'll answer and they're there for you. I trade every single fucking toy. And even if, you know, if I could go back in time, I'd trade all of that shit to have the concept of a true family, right? You could have all the materialistic shit. Um, to have something actually real, to have something that matter. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't understand the individuals. I don't get it. We not on the same frequency. I'm at a higher frequency. I'm a piece of shit. I ain't shit. I'm not perfect, but I am at a higher frequency than the average person. They're at a lower frequency, and there's a gap. And our energies are speaking different languages. It's as simple as that, right? So, you know, it's just like at the end of the day, when you celebrate these holidays, you are willingly participating in a ritual. Okay? That's what's happening, you know? And it's like you can every single origin story goes back to some bullshit that we don't have no business celebrating. And we live in this capitalistic society where everything has to be fucking, you know what I'm saying, monetized. Okay? They charge us, remember, we live in a country where they charge us for water. We live in a world where they charge us money for water. That's the realm we live in, you know? So it's like at some point in time, we got to cut the bullshit. Let's have a real conversation, you know? And then, like I said, going back to what I said earlier, when that kid finds out, these kids feel like they're teaching you something. When the kid comes to the parent and says, mommy, daddy, Santa Claus, Santa Claus isn't real. And it's like, you already knew that. You know what I'm saying? You already knew that. And it's just like, it's like a 4 minute waking up. Let's have a real conversation, But what happens is, what happens is people have good memories, right? From their childhood, participating in these holidays, right? They have positive, to them, it's positive memories. They were around people they love. They got gifts, and it was high. It was a high energy. You know what I'm saying? They were being transferred positive energy. You know what I'm saying? During these situations. So, or what they appeared to be, or at the time processed to be. Let's have a real conversation. So, and like, I had a great childhood, and I had so much fun on these holidays, and my parents would put stuff together, whatever, and then they say, I want to do the same thing for my children. But that's where, it's just like, that's where, in my opinion, where it becomes cultish. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, just because you were raised a certain way does not mean, and you responded to it a certain way, or you had a positive reaction to it, doesn't mean somebody else that's being raised the same exact way is gonna have a positive reaction to it. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I say all of that shit to basically say, you have to decide, um, what you're gonna do when it comes to these children. You have to make that decision on your own. I think it's very sad, like I said, that you can treat people, you can treat your significant other every single day like it's Valentine's Day. You can take care of everything that they need. You can be the perfect partner, the perfect team player, right? Um, you can do everything you're supposed to do as a great partner every single day. But if you don't get them, if you don't participate on that ritual on February 14th, you're a piece of shit. Um, when it comes to consensus of strangers, when it comes to the consensus of strangers. And I don't live in a world, I don't mentally, spiritually, emotionally, my essence doesn't um it doesn't exist in a space of needing validation from anything other than the source. I don't need validation from anything other than source at all. And if more people operated like that, if more people leveled up like that, this realm, I think this realm would implode. If I'm gonna be completely honest with you, So it's just sad. I don't respect it. I don't like it. Maybe it's the Taurus in me, I don't like being told what to do because somebody else said do it. I don't know these fucking pagans. I don't know these people that created these rituals. I don't give a fuck about these people that have basically just figured out how to monetize holidays. You know what I'm saying? These are all marketing strategies. That's it. You got people try to make it about People try to make it about, it's about, family. It's about coming together and being a family and shit like that. But it's like, bro, you can be with your family. You should be able to be with your family. You know what I'm saying? Every day of the fucking year. And and then these same people that they say, well, it's about family. It's not about money. It's not about gifts and whatever like that. These same people, they go over their family's houses and they have the most, it's just so much awkward energy because they're not a real family. They don't even know how to talk to each other. They don't even know what they family's interests are, what they likes, their dislikes. They don't even know they don't know each other's triggers. They're not even capable. These same people not even capable of being vulnerable around their own family. But it's just this monkey see, monkey do. There's this just complete lack of um individuality for the most part when it comes to these people. And they're just like, oh, I got it. It's just this, people so worried about what another motherfucker is going to say about them or feel about them. And it doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, when you perish, okay, when this human vessel bullshit suit perishes, your soul is already fucking whole. And it doesn't matter what anybody ever fucking thought. It was all an illusion that you made up in your head that mattered. I think something that happened to me was, I've always believed in a creator. The whole Jesus thing, I believe in Christ consciousness. It's a very complex conversation. Most people don't even give you the time of day to fully hear you out, to fully fucking listen. I believe in supreme architect. Somebody had to create all this shit. I believe in Christ consciousness. Do I believe in Jesus Christ walking around? I wouldn't doubt there was a person named Jesus Christ walking around. Do I believe everything that they say Jesus Christ did? Absolutely not. But the theory of Jesus, absolutely. When you speak the truth, you will be crucified. And it hurts being on that cross. Let's have a real conversation. So I think that people need to be more open and understanding to new information. I think that the majority of people in this fucking world are just pussy. They're mentally pussy. They're spiritually cowards, right? And I'm the type of person, I've never been that. Could never relate to anything like that, right? I've always been addicted to new information. You know what I'm saying? I've always been addicted to do y'all see this fucking lady, just random ass lady? Anyway, so I've always been addicted to just new information and rewiring. Boom, she about to get ran over. She watching the car about to run her over. You see what I'm saying? NPC shit, man. So I think maybe that's why so many people, if reincarnation is real, whatever, is because people are they just don't understand the gravity, you know what I mean, of how important it is, you know what I mean? Every moment is to be grateful and to evolve. Every single moment, every day, you have to evolve. I'm not perfect. I have so much work to do. But I look at other people and I'm like, bro, you choosing not to evolve. You know, you choose not to evolve. You choose not to, help, the children evolve. It's only so much you can do with your parents. You know what I'm saying? These parents out here act like they know everything. The majority of these parents out here, they choose their pride and their ego. They're so fucking weak. They're so fucking weak that they choose. They have no choice because their spirits are fucking. They have pussy spirits. So they choose ego. They choose their ego and their pride over their own flesh and blood. Let's have a real conversation. Um, and there's a difference between there's a difference between being lonely and being isolated, right? You know what I mean? The average person is going to end up, or there's a difference between being alone and isolated. The average person is going to end up alone because they're ruled by their fucking ego. They're ruled by they're ruled by their fucking ego. So the average person is going to end up alone, just them and this demon called the ego. Let's have a real conversation. When on the other spectrum, it's like, people like us, we isolate because we rip all of our fucking, our layers of bullshit. We rip all of those layers of bullshit off of us. And now we're super vulnerable, regardless if we want to admit it or not. We're very vulnerable and we're very sensitive, to negativity, to lies, deception, um, things of that nature. So it's hard for us to be exposed to that shit. So we self isolate. Let's have a real conversation. The majority of us that self isolate, when we go out, we're the life of the party. Why? And it's something that I've just realized. Like, we're the life of the party because of our energy, because we are literally emitting a fucking energy that's just so rare. You know what I mean? And real that motherfuckers cannot deny. It's as simple as that. You know? Even the people, even people that don't fuck with me can pick up that energy that they like, oh, he's special. They know it. Even people that don't like me or fuck with me, they know. You know what I'm saying? They know it's something, it's a different type of energy. Let's have a real conversation. It's like a hurricane is crazy. um, so it's like I'd feel like a failure if I invested years and time and energy into this truth shit just to turn around and just shove all of the fucking lies down my child's fucking subconscious mind. I'd feel like a dirtbag piece of shit. You know what I mean? I'd feel worse doing that than to just tell them the truth and tell them we're not celebrating this. And they throw their little temper tantrums because they don't know better, opposed to lie to them. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. That's how I've been feeling for a while. Maybe that's the reason why I don't have children, because I'm just not willing to conform. I'm not that desperate. I'm not desperate. I'm not desperate to bring a baby into this world just because somebody else told me that's what I'm supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not. It's not what I am. It's not who I am. Um, you know, I think that the bigger conversation is like, getting up out of here, escaping this fucking loop, escaping this realm. That's where my spirit is has been at for a very long time. See, a lot of people they're on this fucking satanic simulation realm roller coaster, and they enjoy it. Believe it or not, the average person is having fun. The average person is enjoying life. They're enjoying this realm and all the distractions it has to offer. The average person, it does not want to strive to reach their potential. The average person is their dopamine levels are fully stimulated, and they can't even fathom, they can't even begin to understand where I'm coming from. You know what I'm saying? Where I'm coming from is this is not home. The party's over. I want to go home. I want to go back to feeling my soul again. I want to go back to feeling whole again. You know what I'm saying? This is not home. You know, you can compare it to like a hotel or something. Like, this is like a hotel. This realm is temporary. It's temporary. And another thing, I'm like, man, if I had kids with that, like, I'm always thinking about my future, like just the future, bro. I don't be dwelling on the bullshit of the moment. I don't dwell on the bullshit of the past. But I don't be thinking about like 10 years from now. I be thinking about like just my future self. I'll be thinking about like, well, if I do get reincarnated, will I have put my soul in a better place than where I left it my previous life? Normal person don't think about shit like this, dude. The average person will will never fucking have a thought like that in their entire life. Right? So how do you find people to relate with you when the average person doesn't even have a relationship with their self, with their own soul? Let's have a real conversation. Huh? Huh? Let's just be honest. I think this entire, I think everything down here is just, it's just bullshit. To be honest with you, I think everything down here is just busy work. You know, uh, we live in a flat Earth cubicle. That's what I'm gonna start. We live in a firmament cubicle. Okay, firmament cubicle. The podcast. That's actually a dope name. And everything just feels like busy work. Everything. You know, and And then if you're a person that, it's another thing too. Like if you're a person that is spiritual, you don't fall for the religious shit. You don't get indoctrinated with that. You ain't out here ready to kill somebody because they don't believe with your religious beliefs, right? You don't fall for the materialistic shit no more. You don't fall for any type of manipulation anymore, right? Let's have a real conversation. Um, then you become once you level up, then you start getting attacked. And I think we're attacked our entire life, but then you didn't realize it. You weren't self-aware. I think we're attacked from day zero, but you just aren't self-aware, you know? It's like if you in a toxic relationship or whatever, and for so long, and then you get out of it, and then you try to get in a relationship with somebody that actually loves on you and cares about you, the average person is going to reject it because they become, you know, they've just become accustomed, to that frequency of toxicity. You know what I mean? Let's have a real conversation. So it's like, I think everybody down here is being attacked uh, on every level. But, if I brought a child into this world, I'd be already just on high alert that my child is going to be the spiritual warfare that's going to be inflicted on the child, and how strong you have to be to wake up every day knowing, being aware, okay? Being completely 100% aware that you're going to be gang stalked, you're going to be harassed, you're going to be attacked. You know what I'm saying? You're going to constantly have somebody trying to, these demons, these legion of demons inside of people working to fuck you over 24 hours a day. You that the one time you just let the demons inside of you take the wheel, it's all over. The one time you fuck up, because you only allowed to fuck up one time after you wake up. See, people don't talk about this part of waking up. When you wake up, you only allowed to fuck up one time. Because you become that much of a threat to this satanic simulation realm. Know how many times I just be wanting to fucking, you know what I'm saying, somebody will disrespect me, and I have more than enough the means, you know what I'm saying, to acquire justice. Let's have a real conversation. Being the bigger person, I've been the bigger person for so fucking many years. I feel like a Nephilim. I feel like Andre the Giant. I've been I've been having to be the bigger person for so fucking many years. Being the bigger person to a fucking idiot, to a narcissist, to an egomaniac, to a coward, to a weak piece of shit for years. You know what I'm saying? Um, and I would never want. I understand it's a process. I understand this is the game. And this is what souls have to go through to expand, to grow, right? This is just what souls have to go through. This is just the journey, the path, whatever you want to fucking call it. It's like a fucking video game, you know? We all playing the same video game, and we all got to go through the same levels. Ain't no skipping and shit. Ain't no cheating. You can try to cheat it. But I don't think there is no cheating this shit. When it comes to this spirituality, you know what I'm saying? I don't think it ain't no cheating this shit. Well, the cheating and shit is the new age shit. You know, the off-brand shit, the off-brand spirituality. That's the cheating. But you'll never end up where you're supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? When if you're cheating, let's have a real conversation. You gotta stay true. You gotta remain. You gotta maintain spiritual integrity. Let's have a real conversation. And it'll take longer, but it'll feel better. You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's so hard. How do you have conversations like this with the average person? You know, it's hard enough to have conversations like this from people, from fellow truth seekers or people in the truth community or whatever. How do you have a conversation like this? Right? So a lot of times when I'm making these videos, there's people that understand me and I got a lot of respect for them. But the majority of the time when I'm making these videos, I'm sitting here holding my camera and I'm really just talking to my soul. I'm just having a conversation with my soul, right? About what my human body is observing and the things that, conflict me and piss me, just ultimately piss me the fuck off. We're having conversations, people like us, we're having conversations with our souls, and very rarely, you have two souls on the same frequency and, you can have a beautiful relationship, man. You know what I mean? A relationship that transcends everything we can see with our eyes. Let's have a real conversation, you know? So to wrap this up, I gotta get up out of here, but I think it's just a setback. I think that we disrespect the children's consciousness. And I think we're just as bad as the lizard people. I think we're just as bad as the sheep. I think we're just as bad as the agents. I think we're just as bad as the elite, the script writers, the propagandists, uh, the narrative writers, the narrative creators. I think we're just as bad as them when we sit up here and we allow these. What is a child? A child is just a fucking brand new adult. What is a child? A child is just a fresh adult. That's it. Okay, and that's when you're supposed to be teaching these motherfuckers the truth, the hardcore truth. In a perfect world, me and my conspiracy theorist bitch, my my fucking 4-year old, in my perfect world, my child's first world. I'm sorry, let me come on, man. I'm doing too much. In my perfect world is me, my conspiracy bitch, and my first words from my newborn child is uh we never landed on the moon. That's a flex. Let's have a real conversation. When your children are smarter than you, that's a flex. And I'm saying let me rephrase that. When your children are more spiritually evolved than you, that's a flex. I'll take that to my grave. Let's have a real conversation. See, people don't want to have conversations like this. They don't have, you know, they don't have it in them, right? They don't have it in them. A lot of us, we got bulletproof souls. Let's have a real conversation. A lot of us, we have bulletproof souls. This shit been hardened. It been hardened for so long that all the bullshit, all their fucking ego, all their pride, all their lies, all their deception, it just bounced right off of us. We don't, you know what I'm saying? Right? They can't do shit with us, right? I feel like one of the most you know, beautiful gifts that the creator gives us is the ability to self-perceive, the ability to be self-aware. To be self-aware, to know, to be able to see yourself in real time, like a fucking, like a what they call that, like you're in third person. To know if you're being in a moment, if you're acting like a fucking asshole. To know in the moment if you're being a piece of shit. To know if you're being dismissive of somebody's emotions and how you're making somebody else feel. You know what I'm saying? You know, to understand how to cater to other people's souls is one of the most beautiful gifts that the creator blessed us with. Let's have a real conversation. The average person don't know what I'm talking about. The average person, they don't know. They don't know. They don't know, man. Let's have a real conversation. The average person just wants to be distracted. The average person just wants to be it wasn't me. The average person just wants to be shaggy, never held accountable. Average person wants to indoctrinate and feed lies to their children and then wonder why their children come out, turn out to be liars. Hello, I said hello. The average person will lie to their children and then get mad when their children become liars. It would break my heart. It would break my soul, bro. If I had a child and we wasn't cool and we didn't have a relationship based in like just, honesty, it'd break my heart if I had a kid and my kid lied to me. Even though I know that's what kids do and shit. But that shit would break my heart. So there's that. I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. You know, once again, when we talk about having a bulletproof soul, I was doing a delivery today and I drove past family member's house and I saw, other family members' cars parked there, whatever. So clearly, you know, my immediate family, um, they made plans to meet up with each other and have dinner or whatever, something like that. And I once again, I never received any type of invitation or anything like that. And I don't feel anything because I don't have anything to miss. I've never had a legitimate, real family my entire 33 years on this planet. A legitimate family where, you know, it's unconditional. I've never had that. So I don't have shit to miss. And I'm what I'm basically essentially I'm the Black John Wick. Um, You can't miss what you never had. And it's like a superpower. It's just like a superpower. That's how I look at it. You know what I mean? For me, it's a superpower because I've been around people that their loved ones die, grandparents. Um, when my great grandmother died, she was the only person I cared about because she cared about me. She left me her car. Whenever I needed some money, she would give me some money. She look out for me. In return, I look out for her. Help her pay her bills, take her to the doctor. I watched her fucking die in real life. I watched her die in real time. You know what I mean? Over the course of like a couple years. She was the only person in my family I ever gave a fuck about. Only person that would call me and I'd actually get in my car at 7 o'clock in the morning or at 9 o'clock at night and drive 40 minutes, just because she called me and said she needed me. You know what I'm saying? And I loved her so much that when she died, I didn't have I didn't have the courage to see her laying in a box. So I didn't go to her funeral because I didn't want to have nightmares about seeing somebody that I love so much laying in a box. So it's like there was this meme or whatever, this quote that I saw, and it was just like, you have to remember that your children are going to have conversations about you as a parent, and they're going to tell people how great of a parent you are or how fucking terrible of a parent you are. You know what I mean? And that's something that that's a story you have to shape every single day for your child. And I think the most important way to have a positive, to have a happy ending when it comes to that story is the story has to begin with truth and honesty. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, I celebrated all those holidays. My parents celebrated every motherfucking holiday under the sun, you know? My family celebrated every holiday under the sun. But it's like, fast forward, all the material shit it is gone. I don't know. Those toys are gone. Those toys are gone. The Easter eggs are gone. The Halloween costumes are gone. What was supposed to remain are your loved ones, are your family. So it's like, me personally, the Matrix don't tell me what to do. The Matrix will never tell me what to do. The most the Matrix is going to make me do is go get some fucking money. And I swear to God, once I figure out a fucking glitch on how to get money, the only thing that I haven't figured out in this realm is how to amount masses of money. That's the literal only fucking thing that I haven't figured out in this realm. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it almost feels like a curse. It's like, why am I not allowed to fucking have money? Mastered so many elements, you know what I mean, of just pure survival in this realm. For some reason, I cannot fuck. It feels like a fucking curse, man. This nigga said the Megazord going. Listen, man, some of the coldest toys ever. I had a fucking chest. I had a chest, nigga. Okay. And once again, I feel like, a lot of these parents, they know deep down inside that they not there for their fucking kids, you know, on the deepest level that they supposed to be. They know they don't sit there and invest the time. So they try to make up for it with money. So they try to counter it and make up for that time with money. See, me, if I got a kid, I'm gonna sit down with my kid. I'm gonna talk to my fucking kid. I'm gonna talk to my kid all day long and find out about them and encourage my kid to reconnect with their soul. You know what I'm saying? It's just not gonna be, you know, I don't know. It's not gonna be just like, I don't know. I couldn't see myself having a surface level relationship with anybody, especially my children. You know, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something real here, or it's not gonna be at all. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, man. I had a whole chest, like a fucking, like a pirate chest type shit, like a treasure chest type shit. I'd open up my treasure chest. I had toys on. It was a toy mukbang. Toys on toys on toys. Hundreds of dollars worth of toys. I don't even remember what happened to them. I don't know if my mom threw them away or gave them to, other kids or whatever. I don't even know if I had so many fucking toys. Me and my little brother we would have wars. That shit was crazy. We would fucking set all the toys up around the whole room. And we would have like it looked like Civil War. It would look like the Avengers Civil War. Just every inch of the fucking room, man. I'm like, Jesus Christ. To the point, nigga, I got tired. I had so many toys, I got tired of playing with the toys. I was like, God damn. Nigga passed out in the middle of the war, wake back up, and continue the bitch. Had an intermission on the war. And it's just, it was cool. It was cool when you were a kid and you're not reconnected with your soul. You don't know what really fucking matters in this world. You think that's love and shit, but it's not. Oh, my bobble. Swear to God, my bobble. It's not. But love is, listen, that love is that real unconditional love is that motherfucker that's always gonna make sure you got somewhere warm to sleep. That's gonna make sure they go up in that kitchen and cook you something to eat, right? That make eye contact with you and ask you how you doing, how, shit like that. How are you doing? I can't remember the last time, I genuinely can't remember the last time, my mom or dad asked me how I was doing. And you're talking about somebody that I lost everything. I lost my dogs, I lost my apartment, I lost my cars, lost my fucking mind. And not one time did these people ask me, how are you doing? 4-word question. 4 words. You feel me? 4 words. So I make sure to ask the people that I care about, that I love. I ask them every fucking day. You know what I'm saying? How are you doing? How are you? What's on your mind? What's on your spirit? You know what I'm saying? And I try to fill in the gaps, you know what I'm saying? Whatever I feel like people need help with or assistance with, they don't even have to ask. I observe what people need and I try to fill in the gaps. Because that's the type of person I am, and I feel like that's the type of person a lot of people need to be. You know what I mean? So up out of here, slow key, and I say I am, you know who I am. I'm getting over this cold. I don't know what the fuck is going on. I would love to make some more music and shit. I got 100 songs ready to go in the clip. But I just been fighting this motherfucking. I had this shit called rhinovirus. I don't fucking know. They had me on fucking all types of medication. Still congested. Once again, in my opinion, if I had to, I think they're spraying something in the air. This wind, it's been windy as fuck for the last 6 fucking months. I think that they're just they really fucking fucked up the air, the quality, the air quality. I think that there's just something in this fucking air, and my body is just being affected by it. Not gonna lie to you. This nigga, look at this nigga here. Look at this nigga. Drove off the curb. Drove off the curb. The exit is all the way over there. He done drove off the curb. Yeah, the drones, everything. I can't even, man. It's hard to even breathe. It's hard to even breathe. I started watching this show called Utopia. I think that came out. I think that was really popular during the whole Rona situation. But it's a pretty cool show, Utopia. It's a pretty cool little show, you know what I'm saying? But once again, you know, it's just like in that show, you just gotta understand that, you know, I don't like to say we're at the mercy, but we're at the mercy. Okay, we don't have no fucking control, and neither do that. You know, they don't have control either. But we definitely fucking don't. You know, and we're at the mercy of these evil motherfuckers that just they're career criminals. They sit up in a lab all day and they fuck around with the most dangerous, allegedly, with the most dangerous viruses and things of that nature. And then they say, oh, we don't want to use them. We just want to have them ready just in case. You know, so we don't stand a chance, man. We don't stand a chance. They could fucking put something out in the air, in the food, whatever, in the water, whatever, and that's it. We're done. You don't even have a chance to fight back. You won't even have a chance to fire a bullet. You know what I'm saying? Fuck that. They could blast off a frequency like how they did and Leave the World Behind. They could just hit us all with a frequency. And I think that would be the most efficient way. If you just wanted to just destabilize a group of people real quick, hit them with just a mind crushing frequency. Hit them with a fatal frequency. Let's have a real conversation. That way you ain't got to worry about, you know, putting nothing out in the air or the food. You ain't got to worry about none of that extra shit. Just hit them with a fatal frequency. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers' brains be fucking exploding and shit. You know? So it is what it is, man. But once again, who the fuck can you talk to about things like this? Let's have a real conversation. All right. I really would like to do, like, you know, start up and have like a podcast, even if it's just like once a week type of thing. So I'm gonna work on trying to figure out how I can make that possible and just come out with something like a once a week podcast, because, you know, I'm listening to these podcasts, man, or I'm listening to these content creators, and they are just pure fucking dark. They're just garbage. The majority of them, you know, I listen to about 5-6 people on YouTube religiously, but other than that, it's just, man, it's just a bunch of people that's just like, it's like, damn, man. It's like it's a lot of tough lessons, man. It's a lot of recycled uh talking points, you know? It's a lot it's just not like I love listening to an individual that will reshape my paradigm, or even if you just say something in a way that isn't no one said it, that people don't realize how important it is. There's nothing new under the sun, but you can look at it from a different angle. There's nothing new under the sun, right? There's nothing new under the sun, but you can look at it from a different angle, at least. Let's have a real conversation. All right. Catch you on the next